guys, what is going on? Blossoms back. Welcome back to another episode of Top Drafts and another episode of Garage Review. Today, we have a very interesting garage with a very interesting end goal because we're reviewing Memesy's garage, a pretty new member to the Patreon Discord, and it says over here that one of his goals is to win a tri-series. I mean, I would love that, but yeah, I don't know when we're going to be seeing a tri-series anytime soon. We've not seen it in like about 2 months at this point, and I hope it comes back. If not, this guy's going to be, building himself up for absolutely nothing. I mean, obviously when he says he wants to win a tri-series, I'm sure that, he probably means like just a tri-series prize card, so that includes the RRGP that's going on right now, the Eliminator challenges or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of funny, and honestly, his garage might be a good example of a tri-series being less pay to win. I'll explain that later, okay? I'll explain that later, but maybe you can have a look at the garage and see if I'm making sense or not. But let me give you some stats about his garage. So Memesy's garage over here, his favorite brands include McLaren, Porsche, and Lamborghini. And then his favorite cars include the McLaren P1 and the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. His favorite niche, very interestingly enough, I've never heard anyone actually say this before, hatchback. So hatchback is his favorite niche. At the same time, his favorite cars are like the McLaren P1, as well as, Porsches and Lamborghinis. And what else was there in the list? McLarens, that's right. So it's interesting to get hatchbacks because it's a more obscure niche in the game. And it probably isn't going to play a big part in winning you any tri-series because, their cars don't max out at at heights as other niches do, for example. Like, name me, like, I don't know, like 5 RQ90 plus hatchbacks. You can't. You just can't do that. But you can do that for other niches like coupes and saloons and honestly even convertibles and roadsters if you count them as one. If it's convertibles only, I honestly don't think there are more than 5 convertibles in top drives that are 90 RQ and above. That would be a good trivia question for a further time. But anyway, let us review today's garage. As always, if you want to see the in-depth garage notes, I will have it in the description below. I've already written everything out, but obviously the video is more of like a shout out and a garage showcase at the same time. Usually when it comes to commons in garage review, I will highlight the same things that people can try and explore and collect. Things like the Renault Fuego Turbo, for example. That's a really good common, right? That being said, I've been playing this game for a very long time, and what I noticed is that even the most useful commons in top drives, those that I would even consider to be Blossom choice, most of them are still kind of useless. Like, if you don't play clubs, and he doesn't play clubs, so if you don't play clubs, most commons are completely useless, honestly. Like, you don't even use them in events or anything like that for the most part. The most useful commons is whatever Hutch forces you to use for a special tag challenge. So that's exactly what I told Memesy over here. I was like, if you want to go and upgrade any commons, just look out for the ones that are, associated with Lena's collection that's going on right now, or he can also get ready for Nicholas' collection that's going to come after Lena's collection. Obviously, these guys have come multiple times at this point, but that would be something that he can look out for if he wants to. His dream prize car, by the way, is a McLaren P1 GTR, and one thing I haven't said is how old his garage is. You know what? I'll let you guys guess how old his garage is, and then when we get to the end, I'll tell you the answer. So let me know down in the comments below right now, how old do you think his garage is after you look at the whole thing, okay? So I'll put that right at the end. So moving on to the uncommons now, I would say that this is a relatively big garage, honestly. Like, he's got slots going around, there are some decent cars here, I would say. One thing I did mention was that, he doesn't have a lot of fully upgraded cars that are like, in the lower ranks of the uncommon range, namely like, RQ24 to RQ20, kind of that range. He doesn't have a lot of performance tire cars fully upgraded. Things like the Mustang M81 over here that you can see, for example, that's a very good car. I think coming up, I think there will be one, the Suzuki as well as the Nissan Sunny, so those are some pretty good ones. It's interesting though, because like he finds himself as a hatchback collector, so like, do you love all hatchbacks? Like, would you find yourself upgrading all of these, like the Clio and yeah, well, they're both Clios actually, so all of them, because that's going to be a lot of low end that you need to fully upgrade. Depending on how you play the game, that might be very fun or it might be very daunting. But if you kind of just enjoy collecting cars at the same time, there's a lot of low-end, hatchbacks for you to collect, so have fun with that. Some cars I would definitely recommend maxing here, like the Suzuki Carrera, for example. 3 of the cars, so I think he knows that the car is good, because he has 3 of them, as opposed to 1 or 2 of every other car that we've seen. But none of it is fully upgraded. So it could be one of those scenarios where it's just like, oh, I haven't needed to use it yet, so that's why I never max it out. It's actually relatively useful in the Eliminator challenge going on right now. It isn't like the best car that you can use because it's low ground clearance. And the Eliminator challenge, it's rewarding cars that are medium ground clearance. Like a lot of people are using the Honda CRX and the Hyundai Ioniq 9 long range or whatever it's called. So, but the Carrera is useful in some of those races as well, especially if you don't have those 2 cars that I just mentioned. But looking at the size of his uncommon collection, I'm pretty sure he does. But yeah, what else is over here that I think would be a nice little max out? The Peugeot P4, I'm sure that's already fully upgraded. Again, there are many players out there that leave their cars at 2-star, but they don't fully upgrade it until they absolutely need to. And this is the part where I think his garage is a little bit contradictory, right? So if you're telling me that the Peugeot P4 and the Nissan Patrol are cars that are at 2-star because he wants to save money, because he doesn't want to max them out right away, then why are all of your epics 1-star? Because that's a complete waste of money. If you were maxing out the Peugeot P4 and the Nissan Patrol, to get those final 6 upgrades in, it's only going to cost you no more than, probably around $5 grand, no more than that probably. But if you go in 1-star and epic, you're definitely spending 20k, and that's just not worth it. Obviously, you guys have already seen the full garage, so obviously you guys might be confused a bit like, Blossom, what are you talking about with his 1-star epics? I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet, but you will, we will get there. Mazda Roadster NRA is great. This Nissan Silvia in the corner is a fantastic car. I would definitely recommend maxing that one out as well. The Fiat Tempra can be pretty useful, as long with the Ford Mustang Mach 1. These are all little projects that I would work on. 2 Honda CRXs though, so that's going to be useful for you going into the current Eliminator challenge. Citroen C Airdream, that's a pretty good car as well. And then we find ourselves in the rares. Now, much with many garages that I review for the series, rares are usually the strongest niche. I've already had a look at this, and he's got all of the bases covered, right? He's got a great variety, fully upgraded performance tire cars, standard tire cars, some off-road tire cars on the higher end, all-surface tire cars on the higher end as well. So I was nitpicking at his garage, and I found out that one of the weaker niches would be like all-surface or off-road tire cars that are in the lower RQ for the rare rarities, so like RQ 35 and below. I think he only has 2 cars, a Cadillac Escalade and a Peugeot, I believe. One car I would definitely think about upgrading is this Dodge D100 drag spec. That one would be pretty decent as well. He's got a couple of those Mazdas fully upgraded, which is always good for twisty variety. I guess another thing that you could look at is drags, right? I don't think there's a lot of drag rares fully upgraded. A lot of twisty cars, but not a lot of drag, lower rarity rare cars. So he's got the Code's a twisty car. He's got the Eunice Roadster, that's a twisty car. But yeah, I guess one thing is that he doesn't have the drag. The Aston Martin's not fully upgraded. The Dodge D100 is not fully upgraded. And this is a trend. The Mistral is not fully upgraded, but that used to be an uncommon, so I can understand why he doesn't want to touch that. The Dodge D100 used to be an uncommon, but it's a very, very good car. I would definitely upgrade that one if I can. It is something that we will see as a trend going on in this garage. When you look at the Super Egg collection, you can see that drag cars are a little bit neglected as well. It doesn't have a lot of dragsters fully upgraded, so that could be another niche that you could be looking at. A lot of twisty variety here, right? Again, we see the Opel 400 Rally, the Opel GT, that's all good, that's all said and done. I've got the BBR Turbo, the Lotus Elan, all of those are really great. E-Type, you don't really need to max the E-Type. Bread Van, okay, Bread Van's pretty good. Chevrolet C4 is fantastic for the fast circuit, but if you want to use a bit of a dragster, the Corvette LT1 might be a pretty decent option for you to use as well. That being said, he does have the AC. And that is the big one. That is the big one. Okay, now take a look at the Super Rares, okay? Take a look at the Super Rares and think, and have a look at how many dragsters he has fully upgraded. That was one thing that I really noticed. I think, good on him. The only dragster I saw fully upgraded was a 1969 Dodge Charger. Good man. We love that. But look at this, right? So, Chevelle is stock. ZR1 is stock. Zagato is stock. Zagato is a bit of a nitpick. It's not a great dragster, but if you need to use British cars only, it could be pretty useful. Ranchero stock. Again, Ranchero's not that great of a dragster, to be honest. Charger's max, so that's very cool. A lot of twisty cars fully upgraded, right? They got the BRZ, for example. The Volkswagen Polo Gel, that's medium ground clearance, but it is more on the twisty side. What else? Yeah, the Ghibli SS is stock. I think he has the yellow Ghibli as well, or maybe not. Maybe I'm just. Oh yeah, it does. And that's stock as well. Bora stock. I'm assuming that all those cars are probably legacy rarity, like they used to be rare. And I understand that is a huge factor. I feel it as well. You know, when a car used to be rare, it goes up in rarity. You don't really want to upgrade it anymore. It feels like you're getting scammed. I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way. Let me know down in the comments below. Like, you know, for me, I would go to an extreme where, you know, a rare that went up to a super rare, I would just sell. And then I would go max a super rare version instead. I feel like I'm not getting scammed that way. I don't want to max what used to be a rare for super rare prizes. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not a feeling that sits well with me. But that's just, you know, my personal problem. The Monte Carlo is a great one to fully upgrade. Any wet drags or any kind of drag race or drag event where you only need to use standard tires, you want to save some RQ, that Monte Carlo is fantastic. Hemikuda, that's left stock as well. So yeah, that's one of the things when I was looking at the garage, I was like, huh. Yeah, drag cars, he doesn't really like them, does he? You know, like, maybe he doesn't really like American cars in general. I mean, that's fine. I get that. There are a lot of people that don't like American cars and find them big and, you know, not practical, impractical, that's the word. But yeah, definitely need to use a couple of dragsters here and there because, you know, the fact of the matter is, and he's got the Blackhawk, and the Blackhawk is great. The fact of the matter is, you win the most points in this game on the drags. And most of the best drag cars in the game are going to be American as well. So, you know, if you don't like American cars, tough luck. It's kind of like me. You know, I don't like French cars, but some of the best medium ground clearance, you know, front wheel drive cars are all going to be French. So I'm going to need to fully max them anyway. You know what I mean? So I guess one way to go about it is kind of focus on your niche first and then branch out later on. So once you're done with your hatchback journey, I would definitely recommend not to neglect the dragsters for too long, honestly. But that's just, you know, my opinion. Again, Aston Martin V8 Vantage, that's also stock. I'm not saying that that's a good car because it really isn't. There are better options. You can use the Miura, for example. I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just highlighting, you know, another dragster that hasn't been touched. Elise is always a great little investment. Le Rouge is fantastic as well. I'm sorry if you can hear my space bar. I know it's very, very loud. The Corvette ZR2, yeah, definitely one you should look at. El Camino's fully upgraded, so that's great. I mean, at least like he's got the bare minimum, right? If you needed to use a dragster for a super that was like saving RQ, you could use a 69 Charger, but you could also use the El Camino if you want to use something of a higher range in RQ. Actually, he doesn't have a Miura P400, does he? I don't think he has a Lamborghini Miura. And it's crazy because he loves Lamborghini. Dude loves Lamborghini and he doesn't have it. Wow, that's actually crazy. I did not notice this in my first run through of his garage when I was reviewing out my notes. I hope you get a Miura soon. Because if my memory serves me correctly, the Miura should be RQ49, and I do not see one here. And considering that this is a Lamborghini guy, you know, I'm just saying, like, I hope he gets one soon. Okay, so I want to get to the bread and butter here. At the beginning of the video, I said that this guy wants to chase for Tri-Series, and honestly, I think he's ready. I think he's actually ready for a Tri-Series. But I don't think he's ready for an RRGP. So earlier on, I was saying that now we might see that a Tri-Series might be more forgiving. Now, hear me out. It's a small garage in terms of the high end. He doesn't have a lot of legendaries and he doesn't have a lot of epics. I already mentioned in his notes. He's ready for a Tri-Series in things he can control. What can he control? The amount of fuse material that he has. But what can't he control in the Tri-Series? How lucky you are and what you pull, right? And obviously, like, you know, if you can spend, you can spend. But if you can't spend, that's going to be tough as well because he only has 4,000 gold. But looking at his garage, I think he can spend at least a little bit, okay? So let's say there's a McLaren P1 GTR coming out right now. I'm going to give that scenario right here. McLaren P1 GTR comes out right now, and it's a Tri-Series format. In a Tri-Series format, you only need 5 of the best cars. When you need 5 of the best cars, you only need 5 of them fully upgraded, and that should be about 60 fully upgraded, or 15 times 5. My math is really bad. It's 75. You need 75 fuse. Let's say that if you're starting from 0, so here's the thing, right? You need to get really good cars, you need to get really good luck. From opening the packs, you get 5 good cars, right? So obviously that's the part that he can't control, but what he can control is having 75 fuse ready to go to max out those 5 cars. And once you max out the right cars, you're pretty much set for the Tri-Series, right? Like, you don't even need 5, 4 is pretty safe. 3 is cutting it, but 4 is pretty good already. So 4, that's like 60, you know, 60 fuse material. And that's the thing, his garage has a lot of fuse material cars. Look at all the crap that you see here. The Subaru Ascent, the Forester, the Skoda, the Porsche 911, the Murano, Murano, the Pathfinder, the Armada, all of these cars, all these ultra rares are terrible, and I would put into an epic in a heartbeat. Especially if a McLaren, P1 GTR final was just around the corner. Let's say that, I spent some money, right? I bought some carbon fibers and I got pretty lucky. I got some pretty good epics and maybe a legend as well, and I can max them out because, the position that his garage is in is that he can max those epics out. He has enough fuse material to afford maxing out one hand. The thing about the IRGP series that we just had, yes, you don't need to finish tier 1 or tier 2 in all of the challenges, but you will need 15 unique cars. And, 15 unique cars enough to be competitive across all 3 events, right? So yes, he might not need the best of the best. He might not need to be as lucky from the packs that he needs to open to get, the best of the best cars. That being said, when I was doing the IRGP to win that Peugeot, the car, I still needed to use max legends. I still needed to use max epics. You know what I mean? My worst performing event in the IRGP event that we just had, the one that had like 3 separate events ending at the same time that gave you trophies, my worst performing event was the one which was like 2000s and 2010 concept or whatever that was, and I had a fully upgraded legendary in that hand. I had the Peugeot L500R. Can you believe that? That was my worst performing one, and I had a fully upgraded legendary. I think that's absolutely insane. So, in his scenario, he doesn't even have many legendaries. You're telling me that he's gonna need 15 unique cars and upgrade them. Yes, the bar of winning isn't as high as a Tri-Series, but you're going to need a lot more cars and a lot more fuse material for those cars. So I'll tell you right now, if the McLaren P1 GTR came around right now and it came in the IRGP format of 3 events ending at the same time, he's not going to be able to win it right now. But if a Tri-Series came around right now for the McLaren P1 GTR, he has a chance. He has a better chance at winning it right now with the cars that he has in his garage. Right? Like I said, big caveat. He still needs to get very lucky from the packs for the Tri-Series. But come on, guys. It's the same scenario for the IRGP as well. He's going to need some decent luck to get good cars for that series too, and he's going to go ahead and upgrade those. So what I'm saying is that, considering the amount of fuse material that he has, he's better suited for a Tri-Series. So everyone complaining that a Tri-Series is like the worst and the IRGP is more rewarding, shut up. Anyway, we move on with the garage over here. And I said shut up, and I want him to be mean because I am a mean person. But also at the same time, I can understand why people incentivize, whatever the word is, for the RGP thing. It awards the longer term player that already has a pretty decent ultra rare and maybe even an epic base. But for a newer player like him, ironically, a Tri-Series, it's easier. It's easier to navigate. It's honestly easier to win, man. It really is. I genuinely think that I spoke some sense into that. You guys can let me know down in the comments below whether you agree or disagree. But if you disagree with me on what I just said, I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm being completely honest with you. He's got a lot of fuse material here though, a lot. Like you don't need 2 Ram 1500 Warlocks. You don't need 2 Porsche 911 current RCs. He's got a huge big beginner mistake over here. Like why is this 1-star? You've got one fully upgraded already. He's got a lot of 1-star crap. Like I gotta be honest, he's got a lot of 1-star crap. So there's the rest of his ultra rares. As you can see, in terms of like the duplicates as well, I think he's opened a lot of packs. I didn't ask how many packs he opened, but judging by the carpool, he's got a lot of packs. And here's the thing with a newish Top Drives player, when you're opening like the newer packs, you're gonna get like lower rarity stuff. Because think about all the boss collection challenges that we've had recently. They put an emphasis on cars that are below RQ70. So if you're I don't want to say pay to win, but if you buy packs and you join the game like within the last year, within the new boss challenges, and you open their packs, just statistically you're going to be getting more under RQ 73s and 70s. So have a look at his garage, okay? Like look at all this crap. Like, everything here is crap, and they're all 1-star too, which really pisses me off. One 1-star epic is 20k. So look at the amount of money is wasted here. 20k, 40k, 60k, 80k, 100k, 120, 140. You keep on counting, okay? Look. The main argument that free-to-plays give me is that the 1-star epic might make a difference between tier 3 and tier 4. I mean tier 4 and tier 3. I get that. But a 1-star epic is not going to be the difference between tier 3 and tier 1 now, is it? You gotta have to max it out. So like you kind of have to ask yourself, is it even worth getting that tier 3 from a tier 4? Is it worth the investment, I guess, right? Let's say tier 4, the reward is like 30k, and then tier 3, the reward is like 50k. But you get 10k more finishing in the higher spot. I get that. But if you have to 1-star 2 epics to get a higher spot, you're spending 40k to earn 10k more. You get what I mean? Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's just not worth it, you know? I think the only times where it's worth it is that, you know, if the difference is a ceramic pack and a carbon fiber, then you can make an argument for that. But yeah, look at this. Most of the cars are RQ73 and below. Like, all of that's RQ73 below. When you go RQ75 and above, there are not many cars left. That's it. Just this screen right here, and you get legendaries, right? So even if I just bring the video back for just 5 seconds, you can see a stark, you know, contrast in the RQ. So somewhere around this era, okay? Yeah, this era? Yeah, okay. So the best cars here, I would say BMW M3, man. The BMW M3 is fantastic. Fits a lot of niches. The Impreza Cosworth, you already got that fully upgraded. That's a good one. Fusion Sport's great. Roof CTR Yellowbird's great as well. And because you're a Lamborghini collector, that Huracan's pretty useful. I gotta say, one thing I also noted in the notes is that I think his luck has been pretty unlucky. I feel like he's opened a lot of packs, judging by the amount of ultras and epics he's gotten. And the fact that he only has 8 legendaries, it doesn't really reflect the amount of packs I feel like he has opened. But also at the same time, we don't know if he has fused any or sold any away. I don't think he would. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's dumb enough to sell legendaries at this stage. I sell legendaries. I get it. But you got to think about it in a relative term. This guy's got 8. I have like 250, right? So I can sell a legendary there. It won't matter. If he sells a legendary here, it will make a big difference, no matter what legend it may be. But yeah, he's got 8 legendaries. The best ones, I would say, are going to be the Moby Dick, the Sarah, and the Taycan. But if you do read the notes in below, I said that the 3 best ones for him would be the Moby Dick, the Sarah, and the Gallardo, because he is a Lamborghini collector. I mean, he also is a Porsche collector, so I guess I kind of contradicted myself in that sense. I totally forgot that he was a Porsche collector, actually. So yeah, I mean, I guess a Taycan Turbo would be great as well. But the Lamborghini, is that slightly upgraded? I feel like that's 121. I feel like that's 1-2. I might be wrong, but I feel like that's 1-2-1. But yeah, overall, like I said earlier on, he's in a stage where I feel like he actually is ready for a Tri-Series. Again, he's going to need to open packs and he's going to get lucky. But in terms of things that he can control, and I can't emphasize that enough, in terms of things that he can control, like if there's a Tri-Series right now and he gets the right legend from a pack, he can max it out. I can name you 15 epics that he can get rid of right now to max a legend. Seriously. All right, let's count it together. 1, 2, 3. That might used to be an ultra rare, so I won't count the legend, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Oh, that might also be an ultra. Okay, 1, 2. That might also be an ultra, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, that used to be an ultra. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The defender can stay. 15. And that's just counting that. You know, there's still more fuse here, like this Audi and this Audi, the roof. What else? The BMWs. The Tonali's decent. Tonali can stay. These Audis are pretty terrible too, right? So he's got enough. He's got enough. But anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments below. What do you think about this garage? You've seen everything already. How old do you think it is? I'll give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. This garage is 1 year old. It's 1 year and 3 months, I believe. 1 year, 3 months, 1 year, 4 months. Very young garage, all things considered. And I gotta say, if I didn't look at the legendaries, if I look at epics and below, I would say it's a very strong garage. And I would tell you that I would guess it's like a 2-year garage or something like that. So my suggested videos, I might actually cut that out. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you once again, Memesy, for sending in your garage. I hope you found it useful. Remember, you got the notes as well to help you out. If you have any questions, let me know on Discord. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode of Garage Review. I hope you guys have a great day. And stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all